Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about Biot-Savart's law. So, Oersted by his experiment proved that a current carrying wire creates a magnetic field around it, and Biot and Savart by their experiment they found the value of that magnetic field produced by a current carrying wire and the direction of the magnetic field. So their law is famously known as Biot-Savart's law, and by this law we can find the value of the magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor. Clear? So according to this law, if we have a current carrying conductor, like this is a conductor in which I current is flowing XY, and if we divide this conductor into small parts, and one small part if I will take, so this part of this whole conductor is of length dl, current flowing is I, so this IdL, this part is known as current element. Clear? So here we will use the term current element. So that's why I am telling what is current element. If we take a small element of this whole conductor, small part of this conductor, and of dl length, current flowing is I, so this IdL is known as current element. So according to the Biot and Savart, the magnetic field produced at any point P due to small current element IdL of current carrying conductor is, that means if we are finding the magnetic field at this point due to the current element, so the magnetic field produced by this current carrying element will also be small, because this already is very small. We are taking a small part of this conductor, so it will be small. So magnetic field produced by it will also be small, so therefore that is why it is written as dB. B represent the magnetic field and dB represent a very small value of magnetic field. So here it is given, if you will study Biot-Savart's law, it is always written as dB. Clear? So that is why it is written as dB, because if we take the small current element, magnetic field produced by it will also be small. So they gave that this magnetic field produced at this point P is directly proportional to the current element IdL, and it is directly proportional to the sine theta, where theta is the angle between dl and r, current element, and this line joining the point to the current element. So this angle is theta, and also it is inversely proportional to the distance of the point from the current element, that is inversely proportional to r square. So if we combine all these three equations, that is dB proportional to IdL, dB proportional to sine theta, and dB proportional to 1 by r square. So what we will get, dB directly proportional to IdL sine theta by r square. So when we remove this sign, we will get a constant here. The constant here is mu naught by 4 pi IdL sine theta by r square. So mu naught dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi IdL sine theta by r square. Now the value of this mu naught by 4 pi is 10 raised to the power minus 7 Newton per ampere square, or Weber per ampere into meter, and mu naught is known as permeability of free space. Like in Coulomb's law we have epsilon naught, which is known as the permittivity of free space. In this case here we have mu naught, and it is the permeability of free space. Now here we have you will see a new unit, Newton, ampere, you all know that. The Weber is the unit of magnetic flux. Like we have electric flux in this electrostatic chapter. So electric flux is equal to what? E dot A, product of magnetic field into area. Similarly here we have magnetic flux, and magnetic flux is the product of magnetic field into area. So when we will find out the unit of this mu naught by 4 pi, so dB unit will become equal to, if we find out by this formula, so phi b will represent for magnetic flux, and it is equal to B dot A. We have phi E, which is equal to E dot A in case of electric flux. This is in case of magnetic flux. So B will become equal to phi b upon A. Now I am saying that the unit of the magnetic flux is Weber, and area we know that it is in meter square. So one of the unit of magnetic field will become Weber per meter square. Clear? So this is the unit of magnetic field. We'll find out more unit of magnetic field, that is Tesla also, we have Gauss also. We'll discuss all that in the further topic. For here, because the unit is given Weber for the unit of mu naught by 4 pi, so that is why I am telling how to find. So here we have the formula dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine theta by r square. So in this case, if we are finding out this mu naught by 4 pi value, so this will be the sine theta, so will not take this unit. I will be in ampere, length will be in meter, and r square will be in meter. That means it will become meter square. So place all the values. So here we will place the Weber per meter square. This will be mu naught by 4 pi, whose unit we are going to find out, and I is in ampere. Here it will be meter, and here it will be meter square. Clear? So this meter square you cancel out. So what you will get the unit of mu naught by 4 pi? So mu naught by 4 pi, if ampere meter will come in this side, so this will become Weber upon ampere into meter. Clear? So this is how we can find out the unit of mu naught by 4 pi, and also the unit of magnetic field. Already I told you one of the unit, it is Weber per meter square. Clear? So that is why here it is Weber per ampere into meter square. Now a very important equation, that is to write this in vector form. Many times this question is asked in 1 marks directly to write the Biot-Savart law equation in vector form. So it will be dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl cross r by r cube, because when we write this I dl sine theta by r square, it is here. So when we write in the vector product, so here we'll put r. So this will become, multiply this r. This will become r cube, and this will become r dl sine theta. Is it? Now we can write this as r cross dl. So that is why it is written in the, when we write this in cross product, because here it is sine theta. So when we write this equation in vector form, dB will become equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl cross r by r cube. Clear? Now what will be the direction of the magnetic field? So we know that dl and r both are vectors, and dB is also a vector. So here is a vector product. So in case of vector product, we know that what will be the direction of the third vector if we are taking product of two vectors. So the third vector will be perpendicular to the two vectors, plane of the two vectors. Is it? So that means dB, the magnetic field, will be perpendicular to the plane of dl and r. That means here dl and r. So the magnetic field direction will be perpendicular from this plane of containing I dl and r. Clear? And also to find out the direction of magnetic field, I will tell you few rules how to find out the direction of the magnetic field. For here, if cross, you will see somewhere in this chapter the symbol used for magnetic field. It is here cross, which represent inward or downward, and dot, which represent outward or upward. Clear? Depending on what plane I dl and r is, that means on what plane the conductor is kept. So we'll discuss how to find out the magnetic field. Clear? So this is the formula, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl cross r by r cube. This formula you have to learn. Everywhere we will use this formula, and for vector form, for 1 mark sometime it is asked to. For that, just remember that here it will be r cube, not r square. That will be the only mistake that students do to write this equation in vector form. Now to find the units and dimension of mu naught. So the unit of mu naught, just now we have seen that it is Newton per ampere square, also Weber per ampere meter. So from Newton per ampere square, it will be kg meter per second square upon ampere square. So this will become kg meter per second square per ampere square. So the dimension of mu naught will become, for Newton it is mLt minus 2, for ampere it will be, here it will be ampere square. So mLt minus 2, A minus 2 will be the unit of mu naught. Now we have a relation between mu naught, that is permeability of free space, and epsilon naught, that is permittivity of free space. Clear? For finding out these, we will use the value of mu naught by 4 pi, that is 10 raised to the power minus 7 Newton per ampere square, and 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, which we know that it is equal to 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. We have to divide equation 1 by equation 2. So when we divide this equation by equation 2, 4 pi and 4 pi will cancel out, is it? And here Newton and Newton will also cancel out. So what you will get? So we will get mu naught epsilon naught will be equal to 10 raised to the power minus 7 upon 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. Now coming for the units, what we will get? So unit will get is Coulomb square upon, this is ampere square, and this will become, we have meter square. So this is what we will get here. Now for Coulomb square, Coulomb is the unit of charge Q. So Q is equal to I into T. So that means ampere into second. So we can write this Q Coulomb, replace this C by AS. So here we can write ampere square second square upon ampere square meter square. Clear? So ampere square will cut out, and what we can write this one as meter square per second square. This can be written like this, or this can be written like this, meter per second whole square. Clear? I am telling this because we will use here. So now this is 10 raised to the power minus 7, 9 upon 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. Clear? So this 10 raised to the power minus 7, when we'll take it in denominator, so this negative power will become positive in the denominator. So it will become 9 into 10 raised to the power 16. And unit here we have got just now, it is coming like 1 upon meter per second square, which is the unit of speed. Clear? So we can write this 9 into 10 raised to the power 16 as 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 whole square, and unit is here meter per second. So 3 into 10 raised to the power 8, we know that it is the speed of light. So mu naught epsilon naught will become equal to 1 by c square, and c will become equal to 1 upon under root mu naught epsilon naught. So this is a very important relation relating permeability, permittivity and the speed of light. So this is a question which can be asked in the board examination for 2 marks to find out a relation between permittivity and permeability of free space, or the question will be asked like write a relation relating speed of light, permittivity and permeability of free space. So for that this equation is important, and just we have to take the values of the mu naught by 4 pi and 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. We have to divide, and simply we have to rearrange it to get this formula. Clear? Now we'll see the comparison of the Coulomb's law and Biot-Savart's law. There are many similarities as well as dissimilarities between Coulomb's law and Biot-Savart's law. So first, by Coulomb's law we can get the value of electric field at any point P due to a charge. Clear? So we know that E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. If you remember, electric field due to a point P, here is the point P, and here we are finding due to a charge the electric field. This is the distance R. So E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. Now if this charge is very small, so we can write dq. So in that case the electric field will also be small, so it will be dE. Clear? Now what will be the direction of the electric field? We know that this is a positive charge, so it will be in this direction. DE will be along this direction. If it is negative, then the direction of the electric field will be along this direction. Clear? Now I hope all of you remember this topic. So from here DE will get 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq by r square, and from Biot-Savart law, which gives us the value of magnetic field dB, which is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta by r square. So DE gives us the value of electric field at any point due to charge, and it gives the value of magnetic field at any point P due to current element. This is the difference. Here it is due to a charge and here it is due to a current element. Second, we know that charge is a scalar quantity, but here you can see current element is a vector quantity. As I told you, current alone is a scalar, but current element, when we say, it will be a vector quantity. Next we have the magnitude of electric field depend on R, and the magnitude of B depend on theta and R. So as you can see from the formula, D is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq by r square. So D is inversely proportional to R. dB is inversely proportional to R, but dB is directly proportional to sin theta also. So again there is a difference, that here it is depending on only R, but B depends on both theta as well as R. Now about the direction. So direction of electric field is along the line joining dq and the point P, as I have told. Direction will be along the line joining. So D will be along this direction or along this direction, but it will be along the line joining this point. Clear? So in this case, direction of D is along the line joining dq and the point P, and direction of dB is perpendicular to IDL as well as R. Clear? As I told you, it is the cross product of this dl and r. So in this case, we know that product of two vectors, third vector will be perpendicular. So in that case, direction of dB is perpendicular to IDL as well as r. Clear? Now we'll see two important rules to find out the direction of the magnetic field, and we will use these two rules to find out the direction of the magnetic field. So what are these rules? First is your right hand palm rule. Clear? So right hand, according to right hand palm rule, which is a very easy rule to find out the direction of the magnetic field. If this is a current carrying conductor in which current is in this direction, and we are going to find the direction of the magnetic field at this point P. So what we have to do, we have to use our right hand, as this is right hand palm rule. First thing, if you will use your left hand, then you will get opposite direction of magnetic field. That is completely wrong. So you have to use your right hand. Then you have to place your thumb in the direction of current. So in this conductor, the current is flowing in upward direction, so you have to place your thumb in this direction and your palm in the direction of this point. So if I is the current flowing in it, so I have to keep my thumb like this and point is along this direction. So it will be like this. So the perpendicular of my palm will give the direction of the magnetic field at this point. Clear? So the perpendicular of my palm will be along which direction? It will be downward. Perpendicular of my palm, if I take perpendicular of my palm, so it will be downward. Is it? So in this case, it will be downward. So when we represent the downward magnetic field, we represent it by cross. Clear? Now suppose if the plane is like this, like I am taking the plane like this, then only it is in downward direction. If the plane is like this, in this case it will be inward and outward. So it is depending on the plane of paper. So if I am taking this plane, so in this case I am keeping my palm like this, thumb like the thumb here and palm here. Perpendicular to this will give you the direction of magnetic field. So here the direction of the magnetic field will be inward. So cross represent the direction inward. inward or downward, depending on the plane which you have selected or it's given in the question. Clear? And if here we are going to find out the direction of magnetic field, so what we have to do? So in this case I have to keep my thumb like this and the point is in this direction, so it will be like this. So perpendicular of my palm will be upward, perpendicular of my palm will be along which direction? It will be upward. So in this case the direction of the magnetic field is upward, or if the plane of paper is like this, so in that case it will be outward. Is it? I will keep my palm like this. So plane is like this, that's why I am keeping like this. If the plane is like this, then my thumb is like this and palm will be like this. Here straight conductor, so in this case it will be outward. So in this case this dot represent the outward or upward. Clear? Depending on the plane. So this is how by this rule we can find out the direction of the magnetic field. Second, we have the right hand thumb rule. Right hand thumb rule. So we know that a current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field around it which is circular. So in this case we apply this rule. Clear? So in this case what we have to do, we suppose this is a conductor. So we have to place our thumb in the direction of the, we have to hold the conductor, place the thumb in the direction of the current. So the direction in which our fingers will curl, that will give you the direction of magnetic field. So my finger is curl in this direction, so that will be the direction of the magnetic field around it. Clear? So in this case it will be this direction. Clear? So this is the direction. Which direction? That means it is anti-clockwise. Now suppose if the direction of current is downward, so in this case if we will find the direction of the magnetic field, then so in this case I have to hold the conductor like this. My thumb will be in downward direction. Now in which case my finger is curling in which direction? In this direction. Is it? Thumb will be in this direction and fingers will curl in this direction. So in this case the direction will be like this. Clear? So this direction is the clockwise direction. So we will find out the direction of the magnetic field. So basically we will use these two rules. The first one we always will use, because in the numericals also, in the derivation also, we have to write what will be the direction of the magnetic field, and that is why these two rules are very important. Practice it by your hand. Just now you have seen. Now try to find out the direction of the magnetic field using these rules. So I hope the topics are clear to you. In the next lecture we will discuss about the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of finite size. Clear? Thank you.